The current drought situation is of great concern to the government and indeed the people of Kenya. The government wishes to reveal the status of the problem and what is happening to alleviate this drought problem. Currently, the government does not lack food to feed the hungry. The government has already set aside 10.5 billion shillings to feed Kenyans. However, it is of great worry that despite the amount of money, some Kenyans in some areas are sleeping hungry and starving, something that is totally unacceptable. The problem is not that the government does not have food or has not provided money for the food. Here we are talking about the provision of over 10.5 billion shillings, a lot of money. The problem lies in the system of distribution and logistics. The system that has been used in the past of taking food to a central area and redistributing it is not efficient, and it is about time because it is changed, because it means that Kenyans suffer whereas food is being held awaiting transportation. The government is changing this system and adopting better and more innovative ways of feeding Kenyans. We have had this problem of drought for many years in this country, and most of the time we realize it is not just about the food that is lacking, it is how the food is actually getting to the starving people. People are starving here and then there's food a few kilometers, 100 kilometers away. The number of needy Kenyans is expected to get to 4.5 million in the next few months. Currently, we're estimating close to 4 million people need to be fed daily for their sustenance. So far, the government does not have any official reports of a Kenyan that has died as a result of the hunger. We are asking anyone who might have information of a confirmed death due to starvation, may it be media, may it be health workers, may it be NGOs. If you have a confirmed death of a person who has died as a result of starvation, not just old age or other diseases, please let us know, because we need to have these figures, because it is totally unacceptable and wrong for any Kenyan to sleep hungry, let alone to die, whereas there is food in the country. Number 4, the government is aware that we have Somali refugees who have died as a result of starvation. Some of them have arrived in our country very malnourished and do not survive. I think it is telling to see that one of the pictures I saw in the newspapers today, the Standard, was of a child of Somali, the one that says shame on Kenyans, of a Somali child. Most of these children coming in from Somali look like that. This is because they have been trekking 200 kilometers from their country to our country. They are not Kenyans. They are foreigners who are coming to our country so that we can be able to help them and feed them. The government of Kenya is not turning away any person who is crossing the border seeking food at all. Number 5, on the issue of Somali refugees, the government welcomes the move by the United Nations to take food to Somaliland, and I know an aircraft landed in Mogadishu today, and to even consider food drops as per the advice of the Kenyan government. The view of the Kenyan government is that people should not be rendered and be made refugees just because they are hungry. What is vital is the feeding of the people where they are, wherever possible. Building more refugee camps is making hungry people become refugees, something that lowers their dignity. Expecting people to walk 500 kilometers to Kenya or 300 kilometers to Kenya to a refugee camp just to be fed is wrong. Whereas the alternative ways of feeding them where they are without them moving away from their friends, relatives, being displaced, losing their children, and dying on the way looking for food. The Kenyan government is saying we don't need to build more refugee camps to host people who are hungry. As an international community, we need to feed the hungry where they are. Not have mothers lose their children on the way coming 200-300 kilometers to Kenya, whereas they could get food drops, they could get food delivered to them in Somaliland. And this is something that we need to open our minds to. There is a group of international community and international press that have been trying to depict Kenya as if Kenya is a bad person here. We are the ones who are actually starving the people of Somalia, whereas we are the ones actually helping the people of Somalia. There's been these constant stories by international press trying to demonize Kenyans in two ways. One, trying to show as if the Kenyan government is refusing to help the Somalis. We have more than 1 million Somali refugees in our country. We have not turned down any Somali refugee. All of them, they come here, any hungry person, we are feeding them. But as a country, we are asking ourselves, is it right and morally correct to sit and wait for people to come and die in our arms because they are beyond help, whereas we could have fed them before they got to our country? The other thing is that we've seen media reports in the international community trying to show as if it's the whole of Kenya that is starving. There was a report indicating that people should not even come to Kenya because they cannot even get food in hotels because there's no food in the country. It's preposterous. Yes, we have a drought situation, but the drought situation is in certain areas of this country. We have a population of close to 36 to 38 million people. We're talking about 4 million people who are in need of food, not the whole 38 million. And we are seeing these reports are not coming from international media, people who are actually living away. They're actually journalists based in Nairobi. You find them in Yaya eating hamburgers, and yet they are filing reports saying you cannot get food, even a cup to drink in Nairobi or in any city in Kenya. 6, the government welcomes initiatives by the private sector and wananchi to raise money to assist the drought-stricken Kenyans. The government, however, requests that the money that is being collected, they're talking about collecting 500 million shillings, that it be used to assist in the transportation of food and logistics. This is because that is where the challenge is. The food is available, can be made available, as earlier stated. We just need to get it to the hungry. The cost of transportation takes away money from the kitty to purchase food. So we thank all Kenyans for their unity at this time of need. So this money that is being collected, buying a few loaves of bread or a few bags of salt, a few bags of unga to take to 1 or 2 families is good, but it is not as important as helping the government to get the food to the people. As we have said, the food is there. We need help in getting the food to the people. So let's collect this money. You come, the government will fill the trucks with food and show you where to take the food, or work with you to take the food. So it's not a matter of, we want it to be a very organized system to make sure that the food that is there is being taken, so they don't buy more food and we've got food in the stores. And lastly, the government is aware of challenges posed by some leaders, some of them members of parliament, and cartels that are trying to benefit from the current drought. For example, the government has had to talk and have discussions with World Food Programme because they have faced challenges in Turkana and northeastern areas because transport companies owned by some of these local leaders have hiked up the price or the cost of transportation beyond reasonable amounts. The situation has been so difficult and so bad that anyone else willing to provide transportation of food at a reasonable rate has been threatened with death. Some of the senior government officials in these areas are so intimidated that some have actually urged me not to make public this reality. They're so scared. They're telling me, Mutua, if you talk about this, these people will finish us. And these are senior government officials because of these cartels by some of these leaders who are using food as a political weapon. We say that this is wrong. This will not be accepted for food to be used as a political tool at the expense of starving people. We are going to say that the government is going to ensure that we compile a report so that we can name these leaders, shame them, and prosecute them. Because it is wrong for people to die, to suffer, to sleep hungry because of a few individuals who want to make a buck, want to make more money than the rest of the people. It is wrong. It is actually a sin before the eyes of the Lord. It is actually wrong that some leaders have cartels that are saying that today, if myself or yourself takes a truck up there, your driver will get killed on the way, to ensure that they get the price they want from the World Food Programme or from the government of Kenya, so they supply food at their own rate. That is money that we can buy more food to feed the hungry. So that amount of greed and impunity has to end. This is a new Kenya. Watu wanatumia, tumejua kwamba viongozi wengine wangependa kutumia chakula na pia upeanaji wa chakula kama jambo la kisiasa. Tumejua kuna mikutano mingine ambao watu wa viongozi wa serikali hawezi hata kuendeleza mkutano kwa sababu vikundi tofauti vinakuja vinasema tunataka chakula kipelekwe hapa. So chakula kipelekwa pande moja inamaanisha kura zinaongezeka za kiongozi fulani, zinanyimwa mahali pengine. Unajua viongozi wa kisiasa kuna kila mtu ana eneo lake ambalo anasema hapa nilipigwa kura nyingi, hapa sikupigwa kura za kutosha. Ni mambo ambayo tumeona na viongozi wetu wa kiserikali wengine wametuelezea ya kwamba imekuwa ni shida sana mikutano hata iweze endelea katika sehemu hizi kwa sababu watu wanakuja wanasema chakula kipelekwa hapa. Kiongozi wa serikali akisema hapana, lakini hapa ndio kuna njaa zaidi, anaambiwa wewe tutakuona, si unaishi tu hapa. Sasa mambo kama hayo ndio tunasema kwamba tunawatambua yanaendelea na tutakubali yaweze kuendelea. Ndio watu wengine wanalala njaa.